prior to the start of our ceremony.
Sir, Army and Navy Academy Drill Team, requesting permission to perform.
Permission granted,
Thank you, sir. Port, arms. Ready, stroke. The word, march. Port, arms. Ready, move. Drill team, ready. Drill team, hold. Word, march. Drill team, hold. Ceremonial, parade. Rest. Drill team, attention. Cadet, move. Drill team, hold. Cadet, move. Cadet. Reset, arms. Sir, Army and Navy Academy Drill Team, requesting permission to exit the drill pad.
Job well done, sir. Carry on.
Thank you, sir. Order, arms. Reform, move. Forward, march, left, right, left.
Let's give another round of applause for the Davis Guard Drill Team. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Army and Navy Academy. I'm your announcer, Gunnery Sergeant Charles Glimka. At this time, on behalf of the Army Navy Academy and the Rotary Club of Carlsbad, I'd like to welcome you to the 2021 Veterans Day Military Review. I'd like to introduce the president of Army-Navy Academy, Dr. Mark DeJardin, and the Rotary Club Carlsbad president, Mr. Bill Walsh.
Well, good morning, and on behalf of the entire Army and Navy Academy community, I want to welcome you all to our campus this morning. What a perfect day to be in Carlsbad as we gather to remember, lift up, and salute those who have served in our nation's armed forces. We are honored that for the 13th time, we join in partnership with the Carlsbad Rotary in hosting this Veterans Day celebration. The highest obligation and privilege of citizenship, General George Patton once remarked, is that of bearing arms for one's country. So in due course, we join thousands of cities and towns across this great nation and pay our respects and show our appreciation for veterans and service members who have answered the call of duty and who have stood the post to protect our country and uphold our most cherished ideals of freedom and democracy. May God continue to bless all those who have served, continue to serve, and all who have supported them in those endeavors.
Well, top of the morning, everybody. My name is Bill Walsh, and I have the honor of being the president of the Rotary Club of Carlsbad. On behalf of the Army-Navy Academy and the Rotary Club of Carlsbad, it is my honor to welcome you to the 13th Annual Veterans Day Military Review. We owe a debt of gratitude to the honorable men and women of our nation's military, those who have given their lives in defense of our country, and those who have served, and those currently serving in the United States of America to preserve the rights and freedoms we cherish and enjoy. It is also important to recognize the families that stood behind these brave men and women. Their support and sacrifice cannot be understated. Thank you from a very, very grateful nation. Today, I also recognize and remember and honor members of my own family. My baby brother, Lieutenant Colonel Patrick Walsh, is currently at War College. My father-in-law served in Vietnam. My brother-in-law is a proud Marine. My grandfather was proud Army, and all his brothers, all 6 of them, served in various branches of the military. At this time, I would like to welcome veterans representing each of the 5 branches of the military. I would ask the veterans to please stand when they are called. Sorry, let me get back step. First off, I'd like to welcome all veterans representing each of the 5 branches in the military who are joining us today. I would also like to ask the veterans please stand when they are called upon. For the rest, please hold your applause until all have been announced. Lieutenant Kirby Scarborough, U.S. Army retired. I believe you are here with us today. Thank you. Ken Vodderman, U.S. Army retired. Jack Cummings, United States Marine Corps. And Terry Marr, U.S. Air Force. And lastly, I'd like to introduce and welcome our city officials who've joined us today. Again, please hold your applause till I'm done introducing them. My good friend, Mayor Matt Hall, City Council Member Teresa Acosta, are you with us? And County Supervisor Jim Desmond. Thank you. Oh, I missed Council Member Prira Bhat Patel. I apologize.
We'd like to take this time to mention our sponsors for today's event. Ohana Creations for the wreath donation, Rainwater for the bottled water donation, and Beach Vibe Rental for the use of their golf cart. Thank you for your support and making this a special event. In the event of an emergency and we have to evacuate the area, please use the exit located at the ticket booth and the exit behind the press box. Please walk, do not run, and help those who are in need of assistance. Instructions will be given to you as you exit the area. Please keep all areas designated for emergency vehicles or medical teams clear.
Power on. Bluetooth connection success. Disconnected. Power off. Power on. Bluetooth connection success.
Our ceremony will begin shortly. We are timing this with our aircraft salute team. So we're just making sure we start on time. So thank you for your patience. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Army and Navy Academy Corps of Cadets, led by the class of 2022, will perform a military review in honor of our veterans. Reviews can be traced to the Middle Ages when rulers demonstrated their military strength by conducting ceremonies in the presence of their competitors. In the American Army, reviews were originally out in Baron Frederick von Steuben's Blue Book and were practiced by revolutionary units. As a matter of tradition, music has played a significant role throughout military history for signaling units in camp or on the battlefield. The colors at the center of the formation represent their presence at the forefront of the regiment during the heat of the battle. Cadets at Army-Navy Academy have honored the traditions of our school through the years by gathering on the parade field and marching together as a unit. Today, the Corps of Cadets will be led by the class of 2022 as we honor our military at our 13th annual Veterans Day Military Review. The adjutant now commands the band to sound attention. This starts a sequence of commands and movements to bring the battalion to the final line. Next, the adjutant commands sound adjutant's call to align the battalion on the final line. He then walks swiftly to a position in front of the Corps of Cadets where he will present the battalion to the commander of troops. The adjutant now presents the Corps of Cadets to the commander of troops who assumes command of the battalion. The Commander of Troops is Army and Navy Academy Battalion Commander, Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Grant Seller from Darien, Connecticut. His staff include Battalion Executive Officer, Cadet Major Drake Snyder from Renton, Washington, S1 Adjutant, Cadet Captain Spencer Shoja from Ladera Ranch, California, S2 Information Officer, Cadet Captain Evan Song from Palos Verde, California, S3 Operations Officer, Cadet Major Henry Porter from Issaquah, Washington, S4 Logistics Officer, Cadet Captain Chris Clark from San Clemente, California, Public Affairs Officer, Cadet Captain Dingheng Sung from Shanghai, China, Admissions Officer, Cadet Captain Keone Fadiaki from Oceanside, California, Equal Opportunity Officer, Cadet Captain Christopher Liu from Rancho Santa Fe, California, and Battalion Sergeant Major, Cadet Command Sergeant Major Alec Jenkins from Fountain Valley, California. The Commander of Troops, Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Grant Seller, will formally present the Corps of Cadets to the reviewing stand, officially welcoming them to our ceremony. Go ahead, sir.
Sir, the command is present.
Very well, sir. Carry out the parade plan, okay?
Yes, sir.
The Commandant of Cadets, Colonel Wayne Ward, United States Marine Corps retired, represents the local commander.
Bring your units to order of parade.
The reviewing officials include Dr. Mark DeJardin, President of Army-Navy Academy, Mr. Bill Walsh, Rotary Club of Carlsbad President, Colonel Russ Hanthorne, United States Marine Corps retired, our guest of honor. We would also like to extend a welcome to the esteemed members of our faculty and staff, and of course the many veterans, parents, and guests who are joining us today. After the Corps of Cadets is presented to the reviewing officials, the band is ordered to sound off. This gives the band an opportunity to entertain you with military marching music. Today, the band will be performing a medley of service songs. We invite those of you in the audience who have served or are currently serving to please stand when your service song is played so we can recognize you for your service. The United States Army. The United States Marine Corps. The United States Navy. the United States Air Force. The United States Coast Guard. The United States Space Force. The Atkinson Warrior Band is led by Drum Major Cadet Sergeant Major Sean Liu from Houston, Texas, and Band Company Commander Cadet Captain Eric Urbano from Fallbrook, California. Dr. Mark Desjardins will now conduct the ritual inspection of the Corinth cadets. Joining him today are Colonel Russ Hanthorne, Mr. Bill Walsh, Colonel Wayne Ward, Lieutenant Colonel Kirby Scarborough, Senior Army Instructor, and our 4 honored service representatives, Mr. Ken Vortman, Army veteran, Mr. Jack Cumming, Marine Corps veteran, Mr. Dan Bittner, Navy veteran, and Mr. Terry Maher, Air Force veteran.
Forward, march.
Army and Navy Academy was founded by Colonel Thomas A. Davis on 23 November 1910 with an initial enrollment of 13 cadets. Due to the Great Depression and high cost of rent in the San Diego area, Colonel Davis was forced to relocate, and in 1936 he was offered property here in Carlsbad by the Anderson family, who very much were in favor of having a boys' military school in Carlsbad. Thus, the academy was reopened on September 15, 1936, in the Red Apple Inn, an old hotel located on the Anderson property. The building still stands today and has been converted into the Academy Dining Facility. The mission of the Academy is to educate, mentor, and develop good character in young men, and more than 4,000 cadets have graduated from the Academy since that beginning back in 1910. The cadets of the Corps are the institution itself, and our alumni continually serve our community as teachers, coaches, doctors, lawyers, businessmen, government servants, as well as in all military services and all ranks, from private to four-star general. The Army-Navy Academy has a rich history steeped in a continuing commitment to our values: honor, integrity, responsibility, compassion, and gratitude. These values are the bedrock of good character and remind us each day of our purpose as a military academy. The Rotary Club of Carlsbad, chartered in 1939, is a service club dedicated to bringing together business and professional leaders in order to provide humanitarian service and to advance goodwill and peace in our local community, our country, and worldwide. The Carlsbad Club is one of over 35,000 member clubs of Rotary International, located in 167 countries, which was founded in Chicago, Illinois in 1905. Recognizing the opportunity to support the community of military personnel and their families on board Camp Pendleton, the Rotary Club of Carlsbad approached the Camp Pendleton leadership and requested permission to establish a Rotary Club on board the base. Permission was eventually approved in 2005, Rotary International's centennial year, and the first Rotary Club on a military installation worldwide was chartered. Since that time, Camp Pendleton Rotary Club has completed numerous humanitarian projects to include supporting over 8,000 military personnel and their families per year with donations of furniture and housewares. In 2009, a small group of Rotarians met with the president of Army-Navy Academy to discuss possible scenarios to recognize Carlsbad veterans on Veterans Day. From that meeting, a suggestion was made to annually conduct a military review with the entire Corps of Cadets on the Academy's athletic field at 11 a.m. on the 11th of November. From that year forward, Army-Navy Academy and the Rotary Club of Carlsbad have teamed together to commemorate and honor our veterans on this special day. We've been blessed to have thousands of families and community members join us to publicly recognize the sacrifices and service of our nation's veterans. The colors and company commanders with their guidon bearers will move to the center of the parade field for honors to our nation.
Officers in color, center, march.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the colors.
Battalion, present arms. Detachment, present arms.
Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem. Thank you. Please be seated. I do not see.
Bring your units to Corinth.
Ladies and gentlemen, the San Diego Salute Flight Formation Team. I'd invite your attention to the Army-Navy Academy 10-man color guard on the center of the field. In honor of the Veterans Day of both today's military and those of times past, our 10-man color guard is wearing period uniforms representing different eras in our nation's history. We would like to take a brief moment to identify the periods in history in which the 10-man color guard represents. Cadet Staff Sergeant Benjamin Reynolds, Color Guard Commander, dressed in the Army Universal Camouflage Pattern uniform. Cadet Sergeant Anoop Garsha, Right Rifle Guard, dressed in the United States Forces Battle Dress uniform. Cadet Sergeant Connor Brandt, carrying the American flag, dressed in the United States Marine Corps Digital Desert Camo uniform. Cadet Sergeant Truck Nguyen, carrying the California flag, dressed in the Army Operational Camouflage Pattern uniform. Cadet PFC Shane Boylan, carrying the Army flag, dressed in the World War II Army 101st Airborne Paratrooper uniform. Cadet Sergeant Adam DeMond, carrying the Marine Corps flag, dressed in the Marine Corps Digital Woodland Camouflage. Cadet Sergeant Nathan Torres, carrying the Navy flag, dressed in the Navy dress blue uniform. Cadet Sergeant Zachary Swee, carrying the Coast Guard flag, dressed in the Coast Guard dressed whites. Cadet Private Second Class Matthew Myers, carrying the Army and Navy Academy flag, dressed in the Armed Forces Desert Combat uniform. And Cadet PFC Spencer Lott, Left Rifle Guard, dressed in the World War II Army private uniform. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give the 10-man color guard a round of applause. Joining us today is our featured speaker and honorary commander of troops is Colonel Russ Hanther, United States Marine Corps retired. Colonel Hanthorne attended The Ohio State University on a Naval ROTC scholarship, graduating in 1958 with a bachelor's degree in industrial engineering, and was commissioned a second lieutenant in the United States Marine Corps. Later, he earned a master's in education from the University of Georgia. Colonel Hanthorne retired from the Marine Corps in June 1988 and served as the Naval Science Instructor, Naval Junior ROTC Unit, Mar Vista High School in Imperial Beach, California, and subsequently as the Senior Marine Instructor, Marine Corps Junior ROTC Unit, Sweetwater High School in National City. Colonel Hanthorne has served the Army-Navy Academy as a Chief of Staff, Commandant, and a member of our Board of Trustees. He's been a member of Rotary since 1984, served as president, recognized for his service with 26 Paul Harris Fellow Awards, and District Rotarian of the Year, and was a key member of the Veterans Day Military Review Committee. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Colonel Russ Hanthorne.
Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. This is our 13th annual military review in recognition of our veterans. And for starters, I'd like us to take a moment to thank the Corps Cadets for participating with us on this special day and ask that you join me in giving them a rousing round of applause. You know, today I want us to pause and look back and remember how and why Veterans Day came into being, and why it means and what it means to our veterans and their loved ones to be here with us today. Our servicemen and women, past and present, are annually recognized in a number of ways in our country. Three of these occasions that immediately come to mind are Armed Forces Day, a day primarily to honor all the men and women currently serving in the armed forces. Memorial Day, originally known as Decoration Day, is a federal holiday to honor and mourn our military personnel who died in the course of carrying out their duties. And Veterans Day, which originally grew out of an armistice, or a temporary cessation of hostilities, during World War I between the Allied nations and Germany. The armistice went into effect in 1918 on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. 20 years later, in May 1938, Congress established an act declaring the 11th of November a legal holiday, a day to be thereafter celebrated and known as Armistice Day. Armistice Day was primarily a day set aside to honor veterans of World War I. However, in 1954, after World War II and after American forces had fought aggression in Korea, Congress amended the Act of 1938 by striking out the word armistice and inserting in its place the word veterans, thus helping focus on the importance of honoring all veterans for their willingness to serve and sacrifice for the common good. Our government, generally speaking, classifies any individual as a veteran who has honorably served in any branch of the armed forces. Now, initial entry into the armed forces begins with an oath, and I'm sure that every veteran here can recall raising his or her right hand and standing at some semblance of the position of attention while you repeated that oath for the first time. Now, in 1775, when volunteers joined up during the Revolutionary War with Great Britain, they took an oath swearing allegiance to the 13 colonies. Now, the wording of the current oath, adopted in 1959, reads in part, "I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same." Those phrases, in a nutshell, sum up what our veterans pledged during their years of service. You know, as an interesting side, and I think many of us have known this if we're just paying attention to the news or the good part of the news or watching YouTube at all, an interesting aside is the fact that 100 years ago today, on Armistice Day, November 11th, 1921, 3 years after the end of World War I, the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier was dedicated at Arlington National Cemetery. 4 caskets of American servicemen killed in Europe during World War I were exhumed, and candidates to be selected to be the unknown soldier. One casket was chosen and was shipped with honors to the United States. Thousands of people gathered along the streets of Washington, D.C. to see the unknown soldier carried by horse-drawn caisson to Arlington. At noon, the nation observed 2 minutes of silence. Then the casket was lowered into the tomb. Now, I would request today that during the presentation of the wreath, the playing of taps, and the missing man formation flyover, that we use those 2 minutes of silence for reflection and recognition of the importance of this day. Well, in closing, we briefly reviewed a few historical and current facts relating to our veterans and why we've come together on this, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. At this time, I respectfully ask that all of our veterans and their loved ones please take a moment now and stand so that we may express our appreciation and thanks for your past service in supporting, defending, and bearing true faith and allegiance to our United States of America. Would all the veterans and their families please stand? Please stand. And we wish you a happy Veterans Day, and thank you for your service. Thank you. God bless and have a wonderful Veterans Day.
At this time, Colonel Wayne Ward, United States Marine Corps retired, and Lieutenant Colonel Kirby Scarborough, United States Army retired, will place a memorial wreath on the field to honor our veterans. Upon completion of the ceremony today, the wreath will be placed in front of the North San Diego County Vietnam Veterans Memorial, located on the hill to the right of the press box. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for a moment of silence for our fallen comrades and the playing of taps. Thank you. Please be seated. The flyover you are witnessing is called the Missing Man Formation, which is a traditional mid-air salute in memory of a fallen comrade. The first funeral flyover of aircraft occurred during World War I, when British fighter pilots honored the funeral of a German ace, Manfred von Richthofen, the Red Baron. The United States adopted the tradition in 1938. Today's flyovers are executed by the Salute Flight Formation Team. We invite Dr. DeJardin, Colonel Hanthorne, and Mr. Walsh to take their place on the reviewing line for the Pass and Review. We would also like to invite all veterans present today to please come forward to the football field sideline and join the reviewing officials for the Pass and Review. The Commander of Troops will parade the Corps of Cadets in salute to our many veterans to show our appreciation for your dedication and service to our country. The Pass and Review is a long-standing tradition that began as a way for newly assigned commanders to inspect the troops. Today, the cadets will pass and review and salute to our many veterans joining us today. During the pass and review, as the colors pass your front, we would ask that you please stand. Ladies and gentlemen, the pass and review. Leading the battalion is Battalion Commander Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Grant Seller and his staff, which include Battalion Executive Officer Cadet Major Drake Snyder, Adjutant Cadet Captain Spencer Shoja, Information Officer Cadet Captain Evan Song, Operations Officer Cadet Major Henry Porter, Logistics Officer Cadet Captain Chris Clark, Public Affairs Officer Cadet Captain Ding Heng Sun, Admissions Officer Cadet Captain Keone Fadiaki, Equal Opportunity Officer Cadet Captain Christopher Liu, and Battalion Sergeant Major Cadet Command Sergeant Major Alec Jenkins. Band Company is under the leadership of Company Commander Cadet Captain Eric Urbano from Fallbrook, California, Executive Officer First Lieutenant Diego Munoz from Torrance, California, Drum Major Cadet Sergeant Major Sean Liu from Houston, Texas, and Cadet First Sergeant Dola Proto from Boulder, Colorado. Headquarters Company is under the leadership of Company Commander Cadet Captain Cosimo Culati from Santa Monica, California, Executive Officer Cadet First Lieutenant Alexander Mayall from Encinitas, California, and Cadet Sergeant Major Oscar Chang from Arcadia, California. Alpha Company is under the leadership of Company Commander Cadet Captain Dimitri Ludke from Whistler, British Columbia, Canada, Executive Officer Cadet First Lieutenant Shinosuke Sato from Tokyo, Japan, and Cadet First Sergeant Sullivan Adams from Carlsbad, California. Bravo Company is under the leadership of Company Commander Cadet Captain Oliver Bell from Los Angeles, California, Executive Officer Cadet First Lieutenant Julian DeGraff Johnson from Modesto, California, and Cadet First Sergeant Antonio Palma from Costa Mesa, California. The Color Guard is under the leadership of Cadet Staff Sergeant Benjamin Reynolds from Oro Valley, Arizona. Charlie Company is under the leadership of Company Commander Cadet Captain James Hagan from Kenmore, Washington. Executive Officer Cadet First Lieutenant Christian Thompson from Soldotna, Alaska, and Cadet First Sergeant Michael Ramirez from Baldwin Park, California. Echo Company is under the leadership of Cadet Captain Isaac Glimka from Carlsbad, California, Executive Officer Cadet First Lieutenant Bobkin Hartunian from Carlsbad, California, and Cadet First Sergeant Quinn Veriker from Carlsbad, California. Stoles Guard is under the leadership of Cadet Captain Toby Brill from Las Vegas, Nevada.
insurrection. They went on to the Capitol. So he's just go serving me to, this is a Veterans Day parade. It's not a political.
On behalf of Army and Navy Academy and Rotary Club of Carlsbad, we hope you enjoyed our Veterans Day review, and we wish you a pleasant afternoon.